Did you say another statement or no?
2 minutes.
All right. I was just talking, you know what, trying to talk down the dirty word talk.
They don't mean explanation.
Well, I just didn't think it would be good for public viewing, you know, public hearing.
What's up, Garrett? Hang it in there. Having so much fun.
Oh, yeah. It was better off for your department. It's neither the market will pay.
What's he trying to pawn off the cost on you?
It's the advertiser for the hearing. Everyone.
How are you?
Good to be you.
You guys in person? John, Weston Sampson?
Oh,
Met
yeah,
on the
yeah.
Zoom.
Okay, there you
Friday.
go.
John, you're on live.
You put a face to the name. You know,
Right.
Yep.
Matt's gonna be on, or you're representing.
It should be Zoom, I believe.
Yeah, how's he do, was it close to?
All right, it's 4:25. Anybody else wish to be heard for the public hearing for the sewer connection fee? For note, there's nobody in the audience. Watch out, John. They're coming in the back, in the door. They're gonna
I know
start- They're gonna start asking you questions.
I
Better-
shouldn't have gone back to the
You
audience.
better turn around.
I would make it easy.
Sorry.
That is the right side.
You say you're the only one here. so You might
I
as well
was gonna say, might as well take, I usually let Don take that chair out of the stack, but. When I was drinking a glass of water. Oh. Believe it or not, I'm not a coffee drinker.
That's
Is Matt on?
Yeah.
Hello, Matthew.
Hey, how you doing?
You're loud, Matt.
Am I? I'll try to stop screaming so loud. If I whisper, it'll sound kind of creepy though. I see you.
tomorrow, this one. If it's too late anyway, you're not gonna get it.
Yes. Yes. Should I hit close after that? Yes, it's not an institution. No, there's three things. It's like-
Last and final, public hearing dated May 11th, 2022 at 4 o'clock, fiscal year 2022-23, to hear the current sewer user rate of $203 per EDU. Does anyone else would like to be heard? Hearing none, this meeting is closed. Thank you. We stand for pledge of allegiance. Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.
States of America. States of one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty, justice for all.
Mr. Chair, I missed it. You did, I heard you announce one more time.
Yeah, last and final
Yeah. Last and final. Thank
at
you.
4:30. Item number 2 on the agenda, public participation for this meeting. Not for the sewer user charge. Hearing none, approval of the meeting minutes dated April 13th, 2022. Anybody want to make a motion? John?
I'll make a motion.
What kind of motion, John?
What was, sorry, I was reading this.
For the meeting minutes from last
I
month.
don't think I was at the meeting, so.
Oh, you were not here.
I don't think I can make the motion.
Okay, Mr. Miko.
Make the
Mr.
motion. I'll make the motion that we accept the minutes of the meeting for April 13th, 2022.
Motion by Bill Miko. Who's that?
Join the meeting.
I can't hear any. Second it?
I think the rain one that's this week, it's coming garbled.
Don is, okay, seconded by Don. Favor? Anybody opposed? Superintendent's report, item number 4A.
Shown water pollution control plant report for the month of April
Yes, somebody's got a
2022. Our average daily flow was 3 million gallons per day. Our peak flow was 3.9 million gallons per day. We were in compliance with all our permit limits. Our effluent total nitrogen was 90 pounds per day. Our limit is 106 pounds per day. We trucked out 26 dry tons of sludge to Naugatuck. All 4 SBRs are online. We've had no lost time due to accidents. That's 40 incidents, 3 months now. Our safety training was trip hazards due to the fact we have all our hoses out now for cleaning the tanks. For safety tip.
Don't fall into the tank, right, Ed?
Exactly. Our chemical consumables were as normal. No noise complaints. We're up to 115 complaint-free months. No state issued odor complaints at the pump stations or the treatment plant. 5 complaint-free months. We removed 470 pounds total from our 5 outlying pump stations, 20 pounds more than last year.
February and April must be pasta months. Sausage,
Preventive maintenance.
making sausage.
Yep. Preventive maintenance was on schedule as normal. Corrective maintenance. We replaced drive belts on the odor control unit. Replaced a hose bar for the disinfection system. Repaired a leak on disinfection pump number 1. Replaced probe sensor caps for the disinfection system. All SBRs are currently online. And our future work is to keep on top of all equipment with daily checks and repair as needed. Overtime management was normal. Presently, we are disinfecting. So we're using the sodium hypo.
So this has got to get, if this, you have 2020 on your SBR work schedule, it should be 2022, right? You want to change that, Ed?
Yeah, that's just an oversight. on
Right.
our part.
So maybe we can talk about it a little bit later with Matt, but is there any, do we work on our needs matrix with Matt yet?
We've talked a little bit with Ben about it, but we haven't really.
Matt, you want to jump in on that real quick?
Yeah. That's, we still have the needs matrix. We just haven't, in the past year, we haven't done too much on it. But I think for the next fiscal year, we can, there's a bunch of things actually we need to do down at the plant that we can push forward.
Okay. Do you guys have any idea, kind of quickly? Any, yeah, for this year?
Well,
Controlling our air in the tanks.
The fine air bubblers didn't work?
Yeah, no, they're working fine. We just need to control them to get the benefit out of it.
we need to do some site work on the property as far as, we need some serious tree cutting to be done on Riverside. Trees are now higher than the tanks and coming down on top of the tanks and stuff like that. Yeah, I talked to Matt about that last year.
Yeah, now these items, if we put a task amendment together for next year, would we do these as under like sinking fund on call type of services, or how would you pay for this? Is there a budget line item for it?
No. There's not. Capital sinking fund, or we've got money in our account for capital improvements Ernie and I have actually spoken about that a couple times. Can you put together
All
for
right.
next month a needs matrix
Yeah, I
Matt?
can do that.
with these guys?
Yep.
All right. Anything else for Garrett or Bill or Ed? Hearing none, move on. You guys all set? Budget worksheet 4B. These aren't the finals yet, right, Ernie? This takes us through April.
Yeah, the budget worksheet.
Yeah. So gasoline, our expenditures are 2,500. And the budget was 12,000. How come you didn't spend? Is this still that far behind?
That, and usually in May for hurricane season, we fill up all the generators. That's gonna be about 1,500, 2,000 gallons of fuel.
I mean, that's a big number.
That'll be 6 tanks to get filled.
6,
Yeah,
on average, what, 500 gallons a tank?
well, it's 1,000 just at the plant.
Oof.
1,000, and
At
anywhere from-
$6 a gallon, maybe something like that.
Yeah, it's probably a little cheaper, probably in the low 5, maybe.
So potentially 4,000 to 5,000 gallons.
Oh, easy, yeah. Well, no, not 4,000 to 5,000 gallons, probably 2,000 gallons.
Well, you said the biggest one's 1,000 gallons.
1,000, then it,
Then all the other ones are small,
yeah.
200 gallons,
some are-
300 gallons.
They're 400 gallon tanks, but they're half full. So you get the 200 here, 200 the other one, 150 in this one.
1,200 gallons or so.
I would have said 2,500 gallons. You're talking about 1,200
Oh.
gallons? Huh.
It's gonna be close to 2,000. It all depends on which generator, how full or not full it is.
So even if I said 2,500 gallons times $5 a gallon, you're 12,000. You're gonna use what you got there. All right, that makes sense. Right?
Yeah.
Oh, so it's actually, I forgot, it's broken down in diesel and,
Yeah.
okay, that's right, okay. So diesel, you got $1,400 left, you're gonna, and gasoline, you got more money in gasoline. Why do we have gasoline more and diesel less? I don't remember. Okay, well. The two will balancing themselves out.
If we get rolling brownouts next year, like they say we might,
Yeah, you see that? Yeah.
could be running for a day or two on a generator.
Hey, can I ask you a question? And I mean, I think I know the answer, but I'm gonna ask anyway. So you read from deep and from Connecticut wastewater.
Magazine.
Yeah, the publication that I get like once a month.
Yeah.
Do you guys test for COVID?
Not us personally, and not our plant.
No, at the plant.
specifically, but they do. There's a program we tried to get into, we never heard back from. They take your waste and
Right,
they're not really testing for COVID, the MNRA, which is the
yeah.
marker of COVID. It's not actual COVID, as they say, but yeah, it's
The way it reads, it's you're testing for codes. I would assume it's from the wastewater,
Yeah,
obviously, and
the short story is, yeah, that's how they're getting a 2-week look ahead. of COVID, 2 weeks before the spike, they'll see it in the wastewater. That's how they're using that.
so only certain plants have,
All the big plants, New Haven, Bridgeport, Hartford, Norwalk. Like I said, they sent it out to everybody. A lot of people sent back and we never heard back from them again. So,
okay. Grit removal still got a little bit of money left in it. Why is that?
got 2 or 3 months of bills left for that? Still got May hasn't been paid yet,
We just sent the load out.
or April hasn't been paid yet, May hasn't happened yet, and June hasn't happened yet.
This is the only time of the year that's easy reading this thing. For the rest of the year, it doesn't really make much of a difference. Now that we're getting to the end, this is where it really starts working out. Anybody have questions on the fiscal year 2022 budget that was in your package?
Ed had brought up a point last time, that if there was any, remember you had asked the wise question, if there was any counts that you'd like to increase, and Ed was talking about, was it the sludge removal or the
Yeah, sludge hauling.
sludge hauling? Are you comfortable with the numbers being projected for the chairman, or, I mean,
Yes, right now.
It's unknown, we don't know what's gonna happen, but we have to go out to bid in a couple of months.
Sludge hauling, you get
We're told 40% disposal increase, 25% trucking, we may be looking at.
oh my God. I mean, that's not in this budget projections here, though.
We haven't got any feedback from Paul.
well, you only got 2,600 left.
Well, I mean, they're obligated for what we're under contract for right
Right.
At the
now,
moment, yeah.
and that runs out in October.
Oh, October. Oh, okay, good. Not that you're certainly going out to bid, but so you're really proactive. Then if you're going out to bid now, and it ends in October.
I'm not gonna go out to bid, it's probably till July or August.
Well, this, I mean, yeah.
Nobody wants to commit long-term anymore, that's the problem.
Mhm.
Things fluctuate on a daily, weekly
They wanna
basis.
do 1 year and negotiate the second.
Sure.
Can't blame them.
You can't blame it. No, you can't. I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman. I didn't mean to.
It's okay. So we got a current balance for May and June, 2 more months of 670,000, if this thing is fairly up to date.
There's a lot of stuff we can't do because we can't get parts. We got a couple pumps that probably need to be rebuilt. We ordered parts in September, still haven't gotten them yet. So all that labor is just sitting there that we can't have the work done because we can't get the parts. It's becoming a big problem.
Major problem.
Any questions for Ed or Garrett?
1 second. On that note, Matt, John, when the chairman interviewed all the engineering firms that applied under the bid, one of the things that impressed me about what Weston and Sampson said is that they could supply the parts and the labor to fix whatever we need, at the plant. So why can't we help Garrett locate these parts now?
I already tried.
I'm just
Yeah,
saying, there were stipulations that we signed on with Weston Sampson.
I know, I reached out to Matt already. I've already been.
Yeah, we talked about that, Gary and I, and actually it's kind of an industry-wide problem. I can't say that we have a warehouse full of pump pieces that we can just sell to Garrett directly. We talked to this, we work with the same vendors that he does.
Yeah, but you led us to believe that at a moment's notice, that if we reached out to you, those parts you had, I was, in these interviews, I was under the impression you had these in stock.
Not the parts. In a moment's notice, you could reach out to us and we can have guys down there that'll pull a pump out or, help with some electrical issue or substitute for a plant operator. We can do that. And when we pull out a piece of equipment, you still have to fix it. And the fixing it, you still have to order the parts.
All right, so I'm sorry, I was under the impression you
I
had the
think
parts
it's a
available.
global issue, global supply chain issue.
Yeah.
Nobody has parts for every pump that everybody.
No, I.
They'd have a warehouse, you could like Amazon to do that.
All right. Well, I thought that's what we hired Amazon Weston.
No.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, if you did, I'd be rolling in the money right now.
All right, well, thank you for clearing that up.
Anything else for Garrett or Ed? Hearing none, move on. 5A, 2022-2023 budget approval, sewer use rate. Staying the same at $203 per EDU.
So, Mr. Chairman, just so I'm clear, because the taking notes for actually who's doing testing right now. Are we first doing the budget approval, official budget approval of the amount? Are you specifying that, the what was it, 3,107,558? Is that, are we officially documenting that into the ledger or into the minutes?
I'm not sure what you mean 558.
Well, I had 3,107,558 as the 2022-2023 budget.
Okay, so it's been asked from the city not to raise the rate to 217. So we're going to stay back, we're going to stay at the 203. And we're going to have to figure out how to work around it. Okay, so what you're stating then is what you and I spoke about the other day is my question even to Ernie was, well, Ernie, why aren't we using on this sheet the 2,900,000?
Yeah, the previous amount.
The previous amount. The answer, I guess, is, I don't want to say simple, but the answer is, okay, this is what we approved. We need to figure out how to stay within $203 per EDU or $2.954 million, our last year's budget. So we're gonna have to do some creative math.
Mr. Chairman, I'm just asking if you could do a compound thing here. One, officially state that the budget is accepted and see if the commissioners, will make a motion to accept it. That's what I'm asking.
You can say that, or we can say it's $203 per EDU, which reflects 2,000,009, but we're going to carry the budget at 3,107,000.
That's all I'm asking.
Yeah. We're going to carry a budget of 3,107,000, but the EDU is going to stay the same. The rate is going to stay the same.
I just asked if we could.
Yeah, so it's kind of a dual one in some ways,
I see your point.
right? So does anybody want to make a motion? Or first of all, does anybody have a question about the rate at 203, staying at 203?
My only question is, why would we, if we're approving it 203, why would we approve the 3.1 to Mike's point if it's really 2.1?
Right, because we're kind of working the problem backwards. First of all, the budget is what we come up with, what we need. So the budget is 3,107,558.
Yeah.
That's stated. The city stands on the thing, which of course is got to be approved by your boards. You are the overruling members of this thing. Is that they would like to keep the user rate at $203 per EDU. Now, what Mike's point is that if you do the math, the amount of users times the 203, there's a shortcoming. So what Mike's saying is that we're going to use our the money from our budget to make up the difference. The budget will be, if with your approval, if you make a motion on and second it and get it all in favor of, will be 3,107,558. Then I think the second motion would be that we keep the user rate at $203 per EDU, equivalent dwelling units, and that it's noted that the city will make up the difference, the shortcoming, the shortfall there by, well, it's actually going to be coming out of our, the extra surplus, our surplus budget amount.
So John, I asked that to Ernie the other day. I had a question when he sent this. He said, Ernie, why are we using 3? In some ways, I guess it's right. In some ways, it's wrong. So, but the right answer is, I guess, it's 3. Our budget is really 3,107,000. We're going to keep, I think, and again, it's, I think we should keep our 3,107,000, keep the EDU's rate at 203, and we'll have to work backwards and take it off. Because I had that exactly, I said, Ernie, we should be putting 2,009,000 on here.
Michael's
It's
point is right, valid. But what we're doing is we're holding positions, we're holding, 127,000. We're holding for legal contract issues. We're
Right.
putting the amounts in for 2 people that are not at the point but possibly could be tomorrow, next week, a month from now, half a year from now. So the money is being put in, funded the account, even though if it gets used, it doesn't get used, it's reflected in the budget. So.
And I think after discussion, that's the right answers. We have contractual information that's required on this budget. And that we stick with the 3,107,000
Okay.
as our baseline, and we understand through everybody's approval here. And I don't know who's on, Don, Bill, if you guys have any comment, or anybody else that's on, Michael, if you have any comment, what are you guys thinking? Bill?
I would just, we voted on the 203 already anyways, and just leave the budget at 3,175,558 and see how it plays out. If need be. Need be, you're gonna have to maybe hit the
How am I gonna know when I can talk?
up a deficit.
Huh? Mike,
Yes, Don?
I'm also in favor of passing it, the 2022-23 budget along with the $203 rate.
So Don, you're in favor of the 3,107,000, you're saying, right?
Yes.
Okay. Who else? Mike, are you on? Mike Duncan?
Yeah, hey, I'm on. Sorry, can you just help me understand where we would pay for the deficit from? So if we exceed the current budget, if we're keeping the user rate, it's still 203?
Out of our general fund, we have money in our fund.
Okay.
Surplus.
Sir, we have surplus in our fund.
Okay, awesome.
Just one clear, could you, Mr. Chairman, could you just state who's first and who's second that? Because it sounds like a comment.
Yeah, let me just finish. Eugene, are you on?
I am.
Any comment?
I second, since we already agreed on the rate, I think it's fair to leave the budget as is. But again, I'm also curious on what that process looks like if we were to go over and how to reconcile.
We'll get the money. I'm not worried about that.
It's not a problem.
Not a problem.
Good.
All right, so the general consensus is we're going to charge 203, we're going to stay the same as last year, $203 per EDU, but we're going to carry a budget of 3,107,558. But a motion was made by John, right?
Make a motion to have a $203 per EDU sewer use rate for the year 2022, or is that 2023?
2022-23. Seconded by Bill. Did you second that? Don? Second.
I will second it.
Don Ramia. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Anybody
All
opposed?
right.
Thank you. Petromont Place, application 22-103. Where is, yeah, you guys are, thank you. Where's Manny?
Yeah, that's a good question. We said 20 minutes. I asked him, so where are you? It's 20 minutes, this should be.
Well, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna move through old business. If he's not here and we get into new business, then we're gonna decide whether we want to hear him. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys. Nice.
Thanks, sir.
Item B, Petromont Lane, application 22-103. And this is Rose Tizzo also. He's not here. Actually,
You wanna start?
Manny's for all of these. Rose Tizzo, except Mr. Scheibel.
You want to start with Mr. Shire?
Yep, 475, 479 Howe Avenue, application 22-106.
Would you be so kind to take the podium? Sure. State your name and your.
Ben Shiloh, Key Development, 89 Oakland Way, Shelton County.
Matt, you want to comment on this one? So he's carrying a multifamily, 210 gallons per day. There's six units. Commercial, 2,400 square feet.
The 2,400 square feet.
Yeah, so the comment, basically, looking at this, we went through and described the difference between what a studio apartment is and what a single family, one bedroom apartment is. This application meets the definition of a one bedroom apartment, which, whereas a studio efficiency apartment looks more like a hotel room where you have a single occupancy space with a dedicated bathroom and no other spaces for bedrooms. Whereas what the applicant has is certainly not like a efficiency room set up like a hotel room. So therefore, we do recommend that we move forward with the a benefit connection charge of $8,667 under the recommendations. And
All right, so-
if you want to see how the math works, we can explain that. But
Yeah, I do want to see how the math works because we talked about this the other day. So you have on this application here, $18,564. So you have six multifamily housing apartments at 210 gallons per day. And you have a commercial retail warehouse at a half a gallon per day per square foot, 2,400 gallons per day.
Yeah.
So how does, I'm not sure, now who crossed, Matt, did you cross this stuff off of here? John?
We make the updates.
So,
And reviews of the layout of the apartments themselves.
I know we talked about this the other day, but this confuses me because it's not, Matt, you're talking about 18,000, but you're talking about 8,000, but there's 18,000 on here.
Yeah, what we did is we did
Right,
that
because-
to reflect the new grand total with the new spaces. The net on the first page, under item number 2, reflects the actual net change.
Item number
net
2.
charge.
John, on this, John, item number 2?
But yes, so number 2 under recommendations, and
Recommendation.
will show net
Wpca should approve the applicant using updated benefit connection charge recalculated based on multi-unit apartments. But it doesn't explain the math. Because Matt, you're talking about 8,000 and there's 18,000 on here.
That is.
Yeah.
referring to change.
Matt, let's forget the net change for a minute. What is the bottom line that is going to be owed by Mr. Scheibel?
the bottom line is what he's going to be owed. What he owes $8,667. We had the discussion that we can't just show the change in the EDUs. For administrative purposes, we need to see the total number of EDUs for the property. But the change is only an increase of 3.3 EDUs.
So you're telling me that he paid $10,000 already? This is where I'm confused. I'm not sure I get it.
Yeah, before the fire, he was already connected and was previously charged a benefit connection charge for so many EDUs, and then he's changing the use of the upper floors to add 3.3 additional EDUs.
Okay. So now, this application is pre-existing building that caught fire last year. The applicant proposes conversion of the second floor office space. So my only comment is the math's not clear to me, and you know me. I'm a numbers guy. And I understand what you're going to say. So somewhere on this, we need to understand what was already paid by Mr. Scheibel. And there needs to be math on this sheet somewhere. Now, we're not going to hold you up, but someplace we need to know how that math works out, because to me, the math doesn't work out. You're telling me 10,000, but I don't see it on paper anywhere in your discussion. Matt?
So you kind of need a table that shows the before and then the after is
That's
what you're
correct.
asking for.
A simple
And the way
Excel
we-
spread, yeah.
Yeah, we try to describe it in text instead of a nice little table,
No,
but the table
text doesn't-
probably would communicate it better.
Text doesn't work. It's got to be math. It's got to be borne out in math. All right, so I mean,
Sure.
I'm not opposed to approving this, but somehow, Matt, you need to revise this application to show simple math. And there's anywhere I read, I don't see simple math on here.
Yeah, we can create a table that gets attached to this application that shows the final numbers.
Okay. Anybody else have a comment? Anybody?
The only thing to say
Anybody?
is if we're gonna change the application, it'd just be helpful to initial whoever changes it too. No, I know.
Yep.
Yeah,
Well, on.
Oh, it's just like I just think it's helpful in reviewing these things to know if the applicant's changing it or we're changing it or Matt's changing it. I just want to know who's doing it.
My point is that this young man endorsed something that he wrote. And for us to change a document that he signed his name to, I don't think is kosher. I think that what Chairman DeAngelis has stated, showing, okay, this is what the applicant put out. I think you should have a total separate document that reflects
That's
the
even better,
difference
yeah.
between, because this is not right to cross out someone's work and the guy's name assigned to it. That's not right.
So who crossed,
Yeah.
Matt? You cross this out, Matt?
Well, so Ernie and I were kind of struggling with this kind of the end of last week. Usually what we do is we show the edits to the application with red annotation. But then it seemed to be confusing to show different set of numbers in red. So we changed it to black.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, if there is modifications to the application, and this is kind of the way we've done it by showing changes in a different color. But at the end of the day, if they're changing the connection application, we thinking about it, we probably should ask the applicant to re-sign it with the correct numbers. This isn't something just with this application. This goes back many years. That maybe it makes sense to have them sign a revised application once at the acceptance, so that way it's still a legal document.
Yep. I thought that was my point Friday when we spoke, because when I saw it, it's like, it still confuses me. And it's not clean. So
Yeah.
at this point, we're not gonna hold this up if nobody disapproves. Let's just get the math done correctly. And next time we have this situation, which I'm sure is not gonna be the last, let's make sure that we talk again and make sure we know what we got on here. All right, does anybody else have any comments? Mr. Shivel, you have any comments?
Yeah, I just want to say again, for the record, this application, you're counting an efficiency, which is basically an occupancy that's going to have maximum 2 people in it. A 1-bedroom is going to have maximum 2 occupants in it. The same gallon per day flow has a 2-bedroom apartment, a 3-bedroom apartment, and a house. And I feel that you guys need to go back and evaluate like how you're charging people, because an efficiency in a 1-bedroom, there's very little difference between them. And yeah, a 2-bedroom should have an additional, somewhere in between the 140 and the 210, and a 3-bedroom and up should be the 210. I mean, it should, the charges should reflect what's really going into place. And they don't really do that here. So I'm getting charged for a 1-bedroom apartment, the same as a 3 or 4-bedroom house, because there are no 1-bedroom homes in Shelton. So it just seems very inequitable that the charges are being assessed the way they're being assessed. And it's doing a disservice to the developers in the town. I understand you guys are very keen on this and you guys want to collect, benefit connection charges and all that. It's great, but it's also going to be not really reflective of what you guys have really allocated for flows too. And it's going to come down someday in the future where you're going to say, oh, our plant can handle 5 million or 6 million gallons a day. We got a flow of 3 million, but we allocated this much. Like, the math's just not going to work. And if you're a numbers person, then you're going to understand exactly what I'm talking about with this.
Matt, you have any comment, final comment?
No, I I'd accept that comment for the record for the next time we look at this, the breakdown of how we charge EDUs.
Yep, agreed. Anybody want to make a recommendation on this project? 475, 479 Howe Avenue. Mr. Chuck? Anybody else on?
Application approving Hall Avenue, 22106, 475, 479. Motion to approve Hall Avenue application 22-106, 475, 479.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Chuck, second by John. Any other discussion? Anybody else on there?
Mr. Chairman, do you want to have notes in the minutes that there will be a review or something along the line with Mr. Scheibel's asking? Will the board entertain?
Well,
At this point.
we'll review, it, but it's gonna have any impact on this application. The total is gonna be 18,564.
No, it's 8,000.
What, the total on this app, see, this is where this gets confusing when I say that. You're gonna pay the additional 8 for a total of 18,564. You paid 10, I'm using easy math, you paid 10. You owe 18 altogether, even though you paid 10 already.
I don't even know where it comes from.
Yeah, I don't see that either, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah,
I'm looking on this, I'm looking at this right here.
Yeah, I don't have that.
8,667 is the net change.
You see, this is why I don't like this. That's why I don't like this. Am I looking, I got the wrong one. This is one I got. Okay, so this is where the confusion comes in now. Okay, I got, okay. All right, so,
All I have is correct.
all right, so here, do you guys have this? Who,
Can I take a look at that?
yeah, you guys have this one? What do you have?
18,564.
Bill, Don, Mike, do you guys have an application that says $8,667 in the bottom?
No,
No,
Okay, so there you go. I'm just saying, Ken, the total of the project is 18, but we understand that you paid
There's never
10.
18,000 in the project. The
Unless this
building
is-
existing.
so this is wrong.
The net
I don't know who did
increase
this.
of
That's
flow
the
that
thing.
you charge
You're
for
absolutely right. We can't do this
8,600.
anymore.
You see, this is why this doesn't work. All right, I'll tell you what.
Well,
Go ahead, Matt.
let me jump in. The version we had, the draft version that we had only showed the net change, which shows the subtraction of the office space and addition of the apartments. And when we presented that, there was concern by that the total number of EDUs at the entire property didn't match. So we've changed the format to this, which it has a different type of confusion.
Well, it does, and I'm confused now because now I have.
Yeah, I agree.
And than what our sewer administrator has.
And the applicant, neither the administration nor the applicant has those denominations of 18,000.
Okay, well, I do. That's why I keep on using 18,000. My apologies. Okay, so
No,
now,
it's the net increase. It's a net increase of 3.3 EDUs.
correct. I see that here now on the new sheet that I have in my hand. When do you plan on starting? Huh?
Very soon.
Okay, so here's what I think we should do. I think we should give you approval to start. Okay, I don't have a problem with that. But we need to get it ironed out in our math on our side. And we can have a meeting, a quick meeting to formally approve it if everybody else is okay with myself and Ernie and one other Bill, maybe Bill. And we just vote on it and we say, okay, you owe $8,667. So we'll call it pending, we'll approve it and it'll be pending a revised amount. Is that fair?
Revised application.
Revised application, we're gonna clean it up. It's kind of our, anybody else, Bill, Don, Mike, have an issue with that?
I don't have an issue with that.
it's Mike, no issue.
No issue from Don.
All right, so we have
Lou Gehrig over here.
we have,
Echo.
yeah, that's the echo chamber back there. All right, so I'm not going to give an amount, so already, Steve, you made the motion to accept application number, where was it again? Or
22106.
22106, 46. So let's make the motion, John, you seconded, I believe. So let's approve this and we will update the math, okay? To reflect a number that seems a good work.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, who seconded the motion?
John,
Oh, John, thank you.
all in favor of accepting the application 475, 479 Howe Avenue, Scheibel Realty. All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Thank you. Mr. Silva? Yep. 22105, self-storage for, we can go back in order here if you want. Petromont Lane, application 22103.
My apologies, Mandy, still have roasted on company. I just get the Weston and Sampson comments. So right now, I did read through them right now, real quickly. If we are doing an application 103 correctly.
Say that again.
This is application 22103.
Yep. Yep.
So you're representing 05 Lane. I read through the comments from Weston and Sampson and his revision of the sewer calculation. I saw that he went and put 40 efficiencies and then 60 multifamily housing apartment units, which reduced from 100 to 86.7. That's acceptable. We have no problem with that. The stipulation in comment number 1 is also acceptable. And I think I read through all the comments, so there's no issues with that. I'll just wait until the chairman. No problem.
How many applications of
103
do you have?
I have I have in front of me, I have 103, 104, and then 105.
Yeah, give me all I have, so I have nothing to.
I'll get back.
Do you have one? Thank you. All right, so let's see, the recommendations.
So the first one is the general defined lounge bar set seating area shown on A100 of the project drawing. As there is no kitchen called out on the plans and common area to be utilized solely by building residents. Usage rates for these areas have not been factored into this application. And that's correct because there is no kitchen there. It's just a general meeting area. I know we have seating and stuff, but it's for if you want to bring something from the outside, so no food prep or anything going on inside the building. Number 2, as shown on page 5, the Rose Tizo site engineering report, general sanitary sewer discharge calculations having provided Weston and Sampson has provided additional comments and update these calculations reflected on form WP041. So my engineering report was using the sewer calculations by the Connecticut Health Department, and but for these applications in Shelton, we use your discharge calculation.
They changed the studios for you.
Yeah, and he marked it up and changed it.
Right.
It's not an issue. I agree with his calculation.
All right, so here again, Manny, I'm not sure who, I mean, and there's cross-offs on this one. What, do we have the right one on this one?
Yes.
This is why
I understand, and this is gonna change tonight.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
All right, no problem.
No, I understand what he was doing. So it's our misunderstanding that the studio apartment should have been 140 gallons per day versus what I did is I applied all 100 units to
They put
10.
in for 100 multifamily apartments. They put in for 100. When Weston Sampson picked up on it, they saw that they should have filed 40 under studio and 60 under apartment. So they actually were going to overpay on the application. They just the opposite of like a Ken scenario there with the.
Right, we went from 100 EQs to 85.
Okay, so while Mr. Scheibel's sitting here in the room, Matt, what tells us that this is an efficiency on these drawings? We're allowing him.
When
to
you
do
go-
efficiency. We didn't allow Mr. Scheibel to do efficiency. We need to be consistent, and we're counting on you as our engineer to be consistent.
Yeah, it's kind of the irony that we have opposite situations with two applicants on the same night. I'm kind of pull up, there's an architectural floor plan of their building. I'm trying to find out what page it's on here. It's kind of buried towards the end. And you can see, they even actually label it, well, I mean, yeah, they label them studios versus apartments, but you can see that for the studio, you walk in the main entrance, there's just a little kitchen island on the right, there's a small bathroom on the left, and then it's just one open room, and then a deck you walk out to. There's no room where you put a bed. That's the studio.
So here's my comment. I mean, I think I definitely agree with you. Here's my one comment. Anybody out there can, any architect, civil engineer can write studio on there. It's up to us to decide whether that's a studio or not. I mean, we can, anybody's, look, I'm not saying anything derogatory towards developers, but it's easy to write the word studio. We need to have we need it to be clear what a studio is. Okay, Mr. Scheibel's complaining over here that his project is a studio, and he needs to understand, rightfully so, why you are not, as our engineer, considering this a studio apartment.
Well, and then in past applications, we've also had issues where someone says it's a studio apartment with an office, a separate room, which is an office, which that didn't really pass muster either. And right, so we, even though they try to label these things studio or one bedroom apartment or whatever it is, we look at it and it has to pass our straight face test.
Okay, why can't we have a total description, total transparency here? What we define as a studio and the other in the.
Well, I think Matt explained it, and I agree with him.
Yeah.
And somebody pick up a piece of paper where they could read it themselves, what those things are. And this administration would like that also.
Yeah, I believe it's in the city ordinances as well, but we it would be helpful to put it on the application somewhere, or maybe not the application, but the we have a bunch of a couple pages of text that go with the application. That would be a good spot for it.
Actually, it's on the city ordinance, and somebody said a couple months ago, asked me that question. I emailed them and told them it's on the ordinance. You can only put so much information on a piece of paper, and at Ernie's respect, and maybe we get that to Ernie also.
I have the ordinance.
Huh?
I'm looking.
I'm saying that out of respect for you, we'll do that.
I'm trying to.
But I mean, you get to the point where there is transparency because it's on our website, you know? And if you can't find it, well, I don't know what to say. So let's make sure for next month that we have a clear indication of what a studio and / efficiency is, okay? And get it for Ernie. And
my point is, we have an applicant come in. He takes a WP 401 and they're gonna fill it out. Now all of a sudden he goes, geez, what do I have? Do I have an efficiency? Do I have this or that? If we had the definition of what what the descriptions are, elaborated, there wouldn't be this confusion.
There is no confusion. It's on here. It says, go look at the city charter, but to help you out, we will get it for you. Okay. I have no problem with that.
I want to help our applicants out.
Okay. Our applicants can
honestly,
read, they can go to the website and they can read the city ordinance.
Honestly, every applicant, there's usually something wrong on the application. And if it's not this, it's something else. And that's the part of the review is we catch it.
So we will, let's help everybody else, the developers and Ernie and myself and maybe some members. Let's figure out how to get it on here. I had thought I had at some point read on this form WP 0402. I thought we had put on here, and I thought I read it, that you're responsible to go on our website and pull out all required documentation. thought we did that, but that's no problem. Ernie, that's absolutely no problem. We'll do that.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I think we should have in this application, this form that the applicant fills out, but then the same exact form that the consultant engineer fills out, so that we have the original and then we have what that the consultant engineer fills out. So you can see the two different documents and if there's any difference between the two. That's, I think, what should be.
That's a terrific idea.
You know, we shouldn't be altering the original applicant's stuff. This is totally wrong. I wouldn't want somebody, I signed my name something, somebody changed mine, what I put up a lot.
Well, I agree with that. I don't like cross-offs, so that's my first problem. Okay, so, all right, so now, so what do we have
One more
now?
page, it would only take one more page when
No, yeah, I agree. That's okay. We'll do that. We'll clear it up. So, okay, so now where do we head now? Matt? Are we
Sure.
still at 18,200 gallons per day? And 86.7
I'm going
EDUs? Huh?
Yeah, the total flow would be
18,200.
18. Yeah, so that's a little less than what the original submission was. So, but yeah, we're at 18,200.
And who did these cross-offs? You?
It would have been a lot clearer to see it if it was in red. Yes, we did the cross-ups and
All right, then I agree with John Pushkar. Somebody's got to initial, you have to put MG and the date that you initially, if you made those changes. Because I agree with John. I don't know who made the changes. We don't have anything in red. I don't know if Manny did it in red. So now we're getting to the point now, this is not really working that well when we have changes.
It should be a total separate form.
Yeah.
I like Ernie's idea a lot, actually. Ernie had
we'll
the
do
best
that.
idea. Yeah.
All right. Anything else, Manny?
No, I'm sorry if I screwed it up, but no, that's it. I agree. We want to accept all the 5 comments from the consultant.
Okay.
We will comply.
Matt, are you all set with those?
Yes, yep.
All right, so before we go ahead and make a recommendation, Matt, you're gonna change Matt, Manny and or Matt, the two of you are gonna get together, make these changes so there's no cross-offs on this. And for the record, we'll give it to Ernie for the record, but I think I don't have a problem approving this based on the 5 recommendations from Westland Sampson and total number of EDUs of 86.7. Anybody want to make a motion? Or any further discussion?
I'll make a motion to approve application 22-103, Petremont Place.
With the understanding that Mr. Silva and Mr. Jermaine are gonna make the changes to this application, so it's clear. Anybody want to second it? Bill,
I'll second it.
I think I heard you sneeze, Bill.
I'll second it.
Second what, Bill?
The application number 22-103, based upon 18,200 gallons per day,
Please.
86.7 EDUs.
Motion on the table by John Pushkar, seconded by Bill Miko for application 22-103 Petremont Place for 18,200 gallons per day, with the understanding that our engineer and Rose Tizzo are going to change his application, so there's no cross-off. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Anybody opposed? I hope there's no cross-offs in the next one, man. Application 22. Application 22, what's the matter, Matt? 22-104, 303 Bridgeport Avenue. I'll open this up. There's no cross-off. Go ahead, Matt.
Good evening. This is Manny Silva from Rose Tizzo and Company, representing Brookview Apartments, Phase 2. The application is for 30 minutes and it has not changed. So the flow will be 6,300 gallons per day or 30 EDUs. We have 2 comments from your consultant engineer. One is the applicant can proceed with proposed manhole installation or provide a service cleanout TY extending to grade with a cast iron handhole I was reading sewer located not more than 5 feet from the exterior building wall. And number 2, follow the directives of the city sewer department, designated representative and or agent during construction. Again, those two are acceptable, and I believe we'll just put the clean out just outside the building. And we will contact the department during construction. No crosswalks.
Anybody have any questions? Matt, you're all set with the recommendations 1 and 2?
Yes.
Can I hear a motion for application 22-104 Brookview Apartments Phase 2, 6,300 gallons per day?
Make a motion to approve application 22-104 Brookview Apartments Phase 2 for 6,300 GPP.
Motion by John
Second.
Fuscar, seconded by Steve Chupta for application 22-104 Brookview Apartments Phase 2, 6,300 gallons per day. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. All in favor, I only hear one aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Thank you. No cross-outs are great. All right, who's up next? Next engineer? Who's the next guy up?
Next thing you'll look at.
105. I'm gonna look for cross-outs before you get up to the
Yeah,
podium.
there's crosswalks.
Oh, my God. Please, no, don't tell me that.
Lost a lot on this.
There might be a couple.
I'm done. I'm leaving. Go ahead, Matt. You want to make any comments here before Manny speaks?
Sure. So looking at this is like a self-store warehouse facility. And we really should be calculating the flows based on site occupancy and site usage instead of calling it gross warehouse floor area, because when you say gross warehouse floor area, you're thinking you have an Amazon warehouse with a bunch of workers running around picking stuff from shelves. That's definitely not what's going on here. So because of that, we looked at it based on just saying there's, what was it, 10 or 20, let me see where I had the flows.
20 gallons.
Yeah.
Pay per person.
So you.
Yeah, was it page 4 there?
Employees and visitors. Using the site for.
So really we're looking at, we're thinking it might be, 200 gallons per day from this facility. And then that's actually a little bit less than 1 EDU of flow. And then the math kind of works out to a benefit connection charge of $1,995. So that is what the markups on the application are for. The tricky thing about this was the recommendation of how they connect to the existing collection system, and we really don't want them connecting to the 14-inch cast iron force main that's out there. So we really recommend that they just run a parallel low pressure sewer line in the road down the street about 280 feet and then go into the gravity manhole.
Okay, so that's shown on
And,
page 3. So you have option 1, gravity sewer south to Bridgeport Avenue. as
Yeah, that
option.
looks kind of expensive.
And then so on here, I'm going to assume you're giving him the option.
No, we under recommendations we were pretty clear about that.
Well, why did you?
Mike, we wanted to show that we tried to look at a couple of options, but the recommendation is to provide a privately owned grinder pump on the applicant's property and then a curb stop and check valve at the front of the property line.
No good.
And
no
then,
good. No, stop. No good. Option 1 comes off of here, and you should not put options on here. When we look in this in a week or a month or a year from now, Mandy's going to say, well, you gave me options. So this needs to be changed. It needs to be crossed off. Something needs to be done. Okay. I do not want option 1 on this piece of paper. I crossed it off, Matt. Okay. You need to change that. Option 2, take
Sure.
the word option 2 off of there, and it's going to say low pressure sewer north along access road. That's your recommendation, you're not giving him options, okay? So this needs to be
So
rewritten.
we, well, as part of the motion, can the WPCA say, with accepting only the low pressure sewer north along
Yes.
access road?
Yeah,
I mean, Chairman, just so respectfully, our drawings basically show options. That's what we proposed.
but understand,
Yep.
in a week from now, a month from now, and a year from now, if you're gone, if the owner's gone and it's a new owner, the owner's gonna say, well, I have option one here on my application. So Manny, all due respect to you is, you know me.
Yes.
You know my business. That's not what works for me. Cross off option.
Right, yeah.
We're crossing off option number one.
Just so both of
You don't have an option.
Matt, you and Manny, I'm not in favor of this proposal at all. Not running 200 some odd feet down the center of a road. Who in their lifetime is going to find this lateral when the utility company's cutting a gas line or a water line across the road? Who's going to know that there's a inch and a half forced system on it? I'm not comfortable with it as the administrator. You know, normal laterals, we come straight out from the building and we go straight into a main. Neither of you guys wanted to go into the low pressure forced main, which I stated that's what I would have wanted. But I'm going to go with the recommendations of our consultant engineer, but I'm just not comfortable with this running, a couple hundred feet of pipe up the center of a road or something like that. And I know you discussed it with our city engineer because you're on board with it. And that's another thing I don't like, because this is our sewer department and the engineer has nothing to do with the inner workings of this board or our department. And yet that engineer has a way of sticking his nose into our business, because you're sitting on board with him on another town.
That's true, but I never asked him to do anything.
Well, it seems like he came up with that idea.
No, it's not. No, that's completely me.
Well, that's what he said.
So I was not comfortable with the connection that would happen on, when you put an 1.5-inch line and tapping it into a 14-inch cast iron. I don't think that's in the city's benefit,
It's a low pressure system.
Yeah, but it's still, I mean, it's a high, you
You
can have
don't-
a high flow, and then that connection.
Even if you don't want to do that, yeah.
You just don't, in my experience with dealing with sewer departments and things and all over the state, you don't want to touch that 14 cast iron with something that small.
Okay.
Just because the interface connection is.
Then if you're gonna run this as, up the road as you're proposing, I don't think you should have what is it, Schedule 40 pipe that's an 1.5-inch Schedule 40 pipe? I think it should be protected for that distance.
Yeah, I mean, we could sleeve it.
Sleeve it.
But
I think it should be sleeved.
We can sleeve it, or you always have to put in excavation tape so that it can be found.
Magnetic
Right.
and wire for the whole total distance.
Right, it's gonna say
So
sewer.
these are
on
the
it.
things that should be on this application for recommendation, because this is what I would
Yeah,
would
it's-
request of you.
Which one were you recommending then? You're not,
he wants us to go with the force main right into the 14
Option
cast
one?
iron in front of us.
option one?
I don't know what the options are. I don't have it in front of me. I gave my paperwork to me. But the point is that we've got two engineers making recommendations of what they'd like to do. And then I have this administration stating what we gonna request from them. I'm gonna defer to our consultant engineer and we're gonna do that, but I would like to see it sleeved. If I could have one point into the thing, out of respect for Weston and Sampson and our fine engineers, that I just would like to have the thing sleeved.
Okay. Yeah,
And a wire so that's traceable.
yeah, we don't always do that. Yeah, many utilities.
It's not written in the thing application.
It's in the,
That's
it's in the drawings.
right. All right.
Matt, can you
Ernie.
respond on that?
Yeah.
Ernie, instead of sleeve, how about concrete encased?
No, it's too much, too involved.
Okay.
It's too much for the.
Yeah, that's,
You gotta put yourself in the shoes of the contractor putting it in, and that's just a nightmare. All I want is that when some machine hits that, if he goes and that it's something that they could locate without the fracturing the inch and a half. You know, they have
Then
devices to hold your inch and a half pipe inside another pipe. There's rubberized things that you could sleeve into the other one so that the pipe doesn't bang inside the other pipe and wear and tear.
Right.
That's what we'd like to see, something like that with the wire, and this administration would be happy, you know.
No, I agree.
All right, so Matt, here's what we're gonna do. First thing is item number 6 on your recommendations is sleeve it with tape. We're not going with option 1. We're only going with the low pressure sewer north along access road, which you were calling option 2. So, and then you need to change all this handwriting on here. So
Okay.
again, I don't have a problem approving this. But Matt, you need to make some changes along with Manny signing off on this when the changes are made.
clean it up.
Does anybody else have any comment about that?
Right, you could stipulate it in your minutes.
Right. All right, anybody want to make a recommendation? Mr. Miko, I heard you say something.
I'll make a recommendation that we accept application 22-105 based upon option number 2 being inserted and option number 1 being in.
Okay.
The main be in a sleeve.
The
As
force main will
requested.
be, right, the force main will be put inside of a sleeve with tape. All right, motion by Bill Miko, seconded by John Pushkar. I heard you say something too, John?
I will second application 22-105, self-storage 445 access road, pending the edits to the application that would go with option 2.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor for application 22-105, self-storage on 445 access road for 200 gallons per day. Any further discussion? Adding item number 6 and revising the connection, our application to connect. All in favor? Anybody opposed? Thank you. Bills rendered, 6A, Weston and Sampson, $3,405. General on-call services. Anybody want to make a motion?
I make a motion. Pay Weston and Sampson invoice 5221022. The amount of $3,405.
On-call technical services.
I'll second
Seconded by John.
the motion to pay Weston Sampson invoice 5221022 for on-call services in the amount of $3,405.
Motion by Steve, seconded by John to pay Weston Sampson $3,405 for on-call services. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? The financial statement is the last page. Any questions? The oldest gentleman in the group is supposed to adjourn. Mr. Ramia, do I hear you adjourn? Motion to adjourn by Mr. Ramia. Thank you. Have a nice night.
Thank you, everyone. Take care.
Thank you.
How many,
Yeah.
hearing?
Huh?
The public hearing. So I thought,
He had to close the doors. He had to hold the doors.
Hey, Ernie, it looked like the video cut out in the middle of the meeting.
Thank God.
I don't think that,
I can't answer, as long as we can hear your voice, that's good.
all right.
Listen, while you're on that thing, this is important to me, this point, and while John's here too, and the chairman and, the commissioners. I really think that when you do your sewer connection application review, you do that a separate, total separate, application sheet. So we could show what they filled out and then what you're stating the thing is. Okay, so we won't have any more of this cross-offs and stuff like that. This is nuts. You know, I totally.
Yeah, I agree.
It's so convoluted, you can't follow it. You know, what's what's right, what's wrong, what's indifferent.
Exactly. We can't have this anymore. This is not gonna work.
We came off looking a little bit like heels tonight. You know,
No, I don't think so.
I felt that way. I didn't feel prepared. for it.
No, this is the way we've done it for a long time, but we've just identified some reasons why it's really not a good way to do it. So we're going to change it, make it better.
Just because you
We'll make it better.
I find it unacceptable. And
no, I'm not disagreeing, Ernie. I agree with you. I agree with you.
Matt, we're still live. We're going to conclude this evening talking on the phone.
Sounds good.